Welcome to the Drexel App Lab's first xCode 7 and Swift 2 screencast. Today, we will be going over the basics of downloading xCode and getting it up and running on your computer. xCode is an IDE, which means it is an integrated development environment. This means that xCode is a single, convenient hub for your development and testing of Swift applications. Swift is a programming language first released by Apple in 2014. It is designed to be safer and easier to write in than Objective-C, which is the programming language that iPhone and iPad apps were previously written in. As such, it will be the focus of our screencast today. In order to start working with xCode and Swift, you will first need an Apple ID if you don't already have one. This is a username that you use to log into all Apple services. You can sign up for an Apple ID at appleid.apple.com. Once you have an Apple ID, you can download xCode. To download xCode, you will need a Mac computer with a recently updated operating system. You can find and download xCode in the Mac App Store by searching for xCode. The App Store may already be located in the dock on your computer. If not, you can find it by going to Launchpad and locating the App Store in the resulting list of applications. Once in the App Store, enter xCode into the search bar. Then, locate xCode and click the Install button. You can also find xCode via developer.apple.com/xcode, which will direct you to the correct App Store page. xCode is free to download and is also a large program. Be sure to be patient while waiting for it to load onto your computer, as this can take 10 minutes or more to complete. Once xCode has finished downloading, we can get started on creating our first app. For this screencast, we will be making a very simple app for your iPhone and changing its background color. To open xCode, click on the Launchpad icon on your dock. Then, find xCode in the list of applications and click on it to launch the program. Once open, you will see this starting screen. From here, we can open recent or existing projects, practice coding in a playground, or create a new project. We will start our new project by clicking on Create a new xCode project. Now we must choose a template. A template is a pre-built structure for our app that makes getting started quicker and easier. You can learn about each template by clicking on it and reading its description. For this project, we will choose the simplest template, which is a single view application. Next, we must enter details specific to our new project. First, we must pick a name. Next, you can enter your organization name and identifier. These can be the same name and may be populated with your name by your computer already. If not, you can change them to be whatever you would like. Finally, we must pick our programming language and device. For this project, we will be working in Swift, and for our device, we will select iPhone. There are also options to create an iPad app or a universal app that will work on both devices. Finally, you will see a few checkboxes with different options for your project. Core data is a way for your app to store data, like account information, so that it persists between multiple uses of the app. Unit testing is a way to test smaller project components. And UI tests are tests that are run on your application from the front end, allowing you to make sure that buttons, sliders, and other elements function properly. For this project, we will leave core data unchecked and both testing boxes checked. Once we click Next, we must choose a location on our computer to save the project. I'll save mine on the desktop. Then we click Create. Once our project is loaded and ready to go, we see a screen like this. xCode can be overwhelming at first, but once you understand what each part of the program is designed to do, it will be less intimidating. The right portion of our screen is our Utilities menu, which contains the various settings for our app. Below that is our Object Library, which contains all of the objects we can add to our app, like buttons and text. The middle is our standard editor panel, where most of our editing will occur. And the left panel is our Navigator panel, which allows us to switch between files in our project. In your Navigator panel, you will see several files contained within your xCode project. First is the appdelegate.swift file. This contains the code that handles the foundation of your application. You can see methods here that control your app's behavior on launch, close, and changes in its activity. Next is viewcontroller.swift. This is where we put code that affects what the user of our app sees and interacts with, allowing us to connect buttons to actions and more. You will also see two storyboard files called main and launch screen. A storyboard is a blueprint of how the pages of your app will look and how they will be connected to one another. Main is exactly what it sounds like. This is the storyboard of how your app will look to a user and how you can interact with it. Launch screen.storyboard is what your user will see when they launch the app before main loads. There's also an assets folder, which contains any images or other content your app needs to show, including your app icon and other material. Last is your info file. This contains data about your project's name, its identifiers, and more. Let's start by opening our main storyboard. The sidebar to the left of the storyboard is our document outline, which contains an organized outline of all the components of our storyboard. We will close this panel for now using the panel hiding button in the bottom left corner of our storyboard. What we see right now is essentially a blueprint of how the user can interact with our app. Right now, we just have one page. This is called a view controller, which is an object that contains a view. A view is a page in our app, so a view controller is essentially a container for a page in our app. Notice the arrow on the left of this controller. This means that this is the entry point into our app. It is the first screen that users will see once the app has finished loading. Let's try changing the background color of our application. First, we click on the main panel in our storyboard. Doing so shows us all of our current settings for our view in our Utilities panel. There are several different tabs in our Utilities panel. Each of these tabs allows us to inspect different settings for our current object, which right now is our view. To change the background color of our app, let's go to the Attributes Inspector. Here we see an attribute called Background Color. We will click this drop-down menu to see what options we have for this attribute. We can choose one of these preset colors or choose another color from the color wheel. The view updates in real time to show us what our changes will look like. Once we've picked a color, we can close the color wheel. Let's see what our app would look like in Simulator. When you download xCode, it comes with another program called Simulator that allows you to see what your app would look like on a phone or iPad. To run our app in the simulator, click the Run button in the top left section of xCode. If our program is free from errors, we will see a Build Succeeded message, and Simulator will launch. Simulator may take several minutes to load, especially the first time you use it, so be patient. Once Simulator loads, you can resize the window to allow you to see your app more easily. Notice how now in Simulator we can see our app. The background color in our app is exactly the same as it is in our storyboard. Once we are done using Simulator, we can stop the app by clicking the Stop button in xCode. Congratulations! You have successfully installed xCode and made your very first app.